Listen, I got him dancing today. I decided, hey, when we're doing the intro, why not come in with a little music? You know, why not? It's me, I'm DJ Strick. If you can tell, that's Kirk R. Nugent. And the R stands for reliable. He's reliably here from all over the world. Kirk,
That's
man,
correct.
you're traveling
That is
again,
correct.
dude. What's going on?
I am, man. Listen, I have my younger brother and a set of cousins who all have their birthdays in February, and a bunch of them decided to do a little meetup at one of my cousins' house in Colorado Springs, Colorado. So I said, let me not miss out on this. Let me head over there and go catch up with them. So we went
Go to
Pikes Peak
Colorado.
today.
Hey, do me a favor. You tell Dion I said what's up. You know, go holler at him and say, hey, what's up?
Listen, we did lunch with Coach Prime this morning. So today. So yeah, I'll definitely make sure I got some glasses from Coach Prime.
Right. Hey, can you tell I'm sporting another one of those Ecamm merch shirts? The Ecamm fam.
I like.
Shouts out.
That joint is so dope.
I like this one.
It looks almost like a shield, almost like a Captain America shield. Like it's so cool.
You know, I think Marshall designed some of the new stuff, and it's just really cool.
It's really cool. Yeah, they went above and beyond. I really like them. I've actually got to go and do some shopping in the store. They sent me a hoodie, a sweater. I love it, but I need some more stuff as well.
There you go. Hey, if you guys are,
let's
go. If you're watching this, whether this is in replay or you're live with us tonight, please let us know where you are watching from. I would love to be able to shout you out in the show. And because today we're talking about mastering audience engagement. This is a cool one. So if you are a live streamer, if you are a podcaster that has a live audience, all of the above, you have people that's on that you can talk to, this show is for you. And
That's right.
So we want to know you're here hanging out with us.
That's right. And we have some phenomenal guests with us tonight that are going to blow your mind. And in fact, we actually had to start this way with just the two of us because we figured we're not going to get a word in when we bring our guests on. I'm just joking. But We're excited. We are super excited to have some guests on tonight to kind of talk to us about audience engagement and some of the tools and practices that they're using that really help to level that thing up. So, yeah, it's going to be good tonight, y'all.
It's going to be a good night, and I'm excited because, you know, I asked, and they said, yes, we'll come. Like, when people come by, you just can't take it lightly that people are willing to give up their time to be on the show. But I believe,
there it is.
I believe that everybody is just like me, especially the people I have coming on today, that they have a heart for you, they have a heart for people, right, and they want to teach other people how to do live streaming. And especially in this case today, where we're talking about audience engagement, they want to be able to teach that. So they're giving up their time to be here with you today. So without any further ado, Kirk, let's dive right on into it.
Let's bring them on. Yes.
Our stream just got better looking.
Way better. 5,000 times better. Right there. 5,000 times better. Yes,
so
sir.
Sweet, guys. Thank you.
So let's welcome Tatiana Rodriguez and Tanya Smith to the show. And so very thankful for you guys coming on and being a part of this and giving up your time for the audience. And people are already saying hello to you. We're going to go to the comments in just a minute, but I'll start with you, right, Tatiana. Again, thank you for being a part of this show.
Hey, it's a pleasure. I love being here. I can't wait to talk about some key ingredients and dive real deep into practical strategies, mindset strategies, about how to really, truly, from your heart, genuinely engage and build strong relationships with your audience.
Now, you being also professional and straight to that, I've met you in person. Okay, like we met at Creator Camp, and you are the biggest social butterfly there is. So I want you to just kind of open up on the show today and be free to kind of be Tatiana, because I know personally, of course we did a show before camp, but I had such a great time hanging out with you and being a part of the Creator Camp, and everything was there. I mean, I don't know who had their phone and their camera out more, me or you, but you were taking it all in, and I really do appreciate that. It was really cool.
It was. You took the cake on that one for sure, right? I think you captured more footage than I did, but it was so much fun,
Definitely.
so relaxing, like just so chill to be with all of you, honestly, really. And yes, Kirk, that really wonderful time that we got to de-stress. We were all there with Vincent, right? Vincent Woon was leading that for us. That was a great time.
That's right.
We were the morning birds. We were the morning birds there
too. The morning birds. That's right. Had our morning
I did not
stretch.
do that. I did not. I was the guy like, hey, tell everybody to hold the bus. I'm coming.
Yeah.
I'm a little late, but I'm coming. And Tanya, man, it's always good to have you on the stream. And with all that you bring to the community, I think you are awesome. And I also had a chance to hang out with you personally at Creator Camp. And just as cool as you can be, you're as cool as someone from Dallas, Texas can be.
Oh, wow.
Ooh,
no, he did not.
That is, I don't know. I feel like it was like almost a compliment and there was some shade. I don't know.
What was that? What?
Like post Super Bowl, that was some shade. I feel like there was some shade.
I mean, that's real shade. But I'm
that
gonna
is not
forgive
shade
you.
at all.
I'm
That
gonna
is not shade
forgive
at
you.
all.
Tanya,
really
let me fix the sentence.
Thank you.
Tanya's as cool as the other side of the pillow. Come on.
There you go. There you go.
I will take that one. I'll take that one.
You couldn't. You possibly could not be a Dallas Cowboy fan. You're not, right?
Look, honestly, I'm not even a football person, so I'm going to let that go.
I get it. I'm
going to let it go. I'm going to let it go.
I thought we weren't going to blow up the stream. I thought we said we weren't going to blow it up.
I think he's trying to blow it up before we even begin. Like he's trying to get mic drops.
Yes, ma'am.
Tanya, you're gonna have to channel that love you got. I can't even point it.
Give me that the love that
channel
you
that
have.
love you got there.
Yeah, give that. Give it to me.
I'm gonna give it back to him because honestly, Strick kept me sane at different points in time when I was really ready to just be asleep. Because I'm an early sleeper. So he did. I think you actually, Kirk, you kept me up.
Oh yeah.
DJ Strick kept me up. I mean, we had great conversation. Tatiana was my partner in crime to go find apple cider donuts.
Ooh.
So we took off and went and found some apple cider donuts at a farm.
So let me say this.
That is good.
For all of the adults that have to be in bed by 9:00 p.m., like on a regular basis to be able to function, I need you to sleep ahead of time, okay, before you come to camp. Because there may be some evening events that go past 9:00.
It's true.
Okay, and if you can't handle after 9 p.m., I'm sorry, you might not want to go to the evening programs because they're past 9 p.m. Now it's not too far past 9 p.m., but somebody could not hold that hour of the day.
Well, it's true because I'm a 4:00 in the morning riser. So if I'm getting up at 4, I'm going to bed early.
I get it.
8 p.m.
All right,
yeah, props to Tanya though. One last prop to Tanya, which is when we were, I can't eat the donuts, right? But Tanya, my partner, could not stop talking about the awesomeness of these donuts. So Tanya and I both got some to bring over to our group. So she inspired me to be generous. I was like, man, that's a really good idea. Just because I can't eat them doesn't mean other people can't. So we shared the donut love that day too.
We did. And they were nice and warm.
About that. I heard about the donuts, but I didn't get any.
I'm feeling jealous right now.
If really jealous. If you were in our group, that's right. They weren't in a. You weren't in the cool kids
troublemaker. Tech troublemaker is saying it right now. These donuts were great. I'm like, hold up, I didn't get any.
That's right. That's right. Roy was with me.
You guys see this flashing right here? I got a little flashing going on in my studio. I'm sorry. I'll fix that later.
It's too much. It's too much power. There's too much power on screen. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Listen, I want to. Let me say something real quick. I see G. Albert's in the comments. Maury Music is saying.
Can I go to the comments? Let me pull them up real quick, Kirk, because I need to get
All right,
here.
Cool.
And
yeah, I did want to shout out Chris Stone real quick. I had him on the coaching corner on
and
he did a phenomenal job.
Oh, he's a phenomenal person. You know?
Wow, man.
Oh, listen, yeah. I just recently checked out
If you're looking to have
too.
this guy, if you're looking for guests for your show or live show, podcast, whatever, especially anything content related, Chris Stone is just, wow, what a resource. He came and blew it up. Yeah, so
Yes.
I'm gonna have DJ Strick on here pretty soon as well. So we had Walt Jeanette on a week or so ago.
All right.
So yeah, the coaching corner is blowing up, y'all. So make sure you come check us out. But yeah, no, Chris, I want to say a word of thanks to you. There's somebody in the comments named Stream Like a Boss TV. I don't know who's.
Yeah,
you know that's me.
yeah.
Don't trip.
I love it.
So let's do this. She's got a fan club today. You know, actually, I think I met Dan on one of your shows.
Dan the man. Correct. That's right.
So he's being sure to say hello to you, Kirk. So Dan, I won't say hello to you, Dan. I just refuse to speak back. All right. Hey, Jason.
Hilarious.
From Denver, Colorado. That's what's up, man. Thank you for hanging out with us today. And then there's this young lady right here just hanging out with us. And man, my man Roy is hanging out, saying hello to everybody. And like for you too, Tatiana. Okay, so he's saying hello to Kirk, Tanya, and Tatiana.
That's right.
He's very intentional. Very intentional.
Okay. DJ only invites people to the stream he meets in person. Man, if you really knew my criteria for coming to the stream show, you would be very shocked. You would be very shocked, like the criteria to get on this show. Yes, I am thanking Kirk for kind of making it a little better since I did talk about Dallas. So he did kind of help me out with that. Shade at the Dallas Cowboys. Not really, Murray.
Not really.
It was shade. It was shade.
So check this out. Move along quickly.
Check this out. So Roy got the donuts. I didn't get the donuts.
And that's exactly what I was thinking to myself. I'm like, man, there's a whole lot of people who got these donuts. I didn't get any donuts, so I'm feeling the kind of way.
Next time we're going to make sure that we take a field trip because it really is a nice farm. It's beautiful. So you can't miss it.
I wish I had queued up the footage, Tanya, of you and I on those little horsey things. We had a lot of fun that morning.
We rode wooden horses and everything. We hung out with the chickens.
Can I say this real quick? Listen, this is what I want to say real quick, DJ. What you guys are experiencing right now is a masterclass in audience engagement. I'm just going to throw it back out there. I'm just kind of pointing a straight line towards the topic of our show tonight, and you're going to get a lot of nuggets of wisdom and feedback. But I want you to make sure you are paying attention to what we do, along with what we say. We're taking time to kind of engage with the comments, putting comments on screen, giving the comments their prominence and their place so everybody can engage around them, especially those who are watching on a phone, making those comments a little bit larger. That is an engagement hack. And I think that's like hack number 1, right, DJ, for the night, because we got several more for you. But that's another engagement hack for your audience. You want to be able to engage your folks on screen, but you do want to make sure you pull the audience into the conversation as well.
Definitely pulling them into the conversation, including being able to allow them to respond to what you say. So there he is. So we gave a shout out to Chris, and there again, he points out Kirk. Chris, I clearly said how good I thought you were as well, but appreciate you, Kirk. That's okay. Ben says hello, and Ben is saying hello to everybody. Hey, so big shouts out to you, Ben. And there's my man Dan. The criteria is not me. No, not me is not a part of the criteria. No, it's not me, but I get it. And he's laughing. Yes, sir.
Of course. There's laughter all the way around. Honest to confidence, he's doing his own thing. But I like this comment right here. I like this, and the reason why I like it is because I just had her as a guest on my podcast, not even a couple weeks ago, and we had a phenomenal time. In fact, Tanya, I don't know if have you seen some of the comments underneath that thing?
I haven't even seen it. I need to go look.
Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh, that's on me. I need to send you the link. There's a person who sent me a message because the title is "Can an Introvert use live video?" And there's a person who commented under there saying, "This is the one. This is what I needed in order to be motivated to go live." And I was like, "This is it." So dope. And it's that kind of that's exactly why we put the thing out there, why I have people like Tanya on the podcast. These are the reasons. So I just wanted to throw it out as well. Hey, Tanya's another phenomenal guest. You guys already knew that though here at the stream.
So Kirk, we got a question for you. Everybody else on the live has their backgrounds lit and groovy. What happened to yours?
Lit and groovy. I like that.
So
lit and groovy.
So this is the best I could do while traveling. So this is my travel setup, and I think it's still pretty good. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm still pretty happy with it. It's just not lit and groovy. So, but no, I'm not at home today, and I hope that's okay, y'all. I just love the stream show. I got to be on here regardless of where I'm at and what I'm doing. So I'm excited.
The R stands for reliable. He's reliably here today, hanging out with us. Right. Even with the light, like you making the lighting work. I mean, the back, that's great. Like I just, our shows are better when we're together.
There you go. Again. Better together. Let's go.
Together. Norman, man, thank you for coming through. He's saying hello to everybody. And the Dallas Shade made me keep Strick's name out of the chat. Well, there you go. There you go, Chris. I get it. And AG is here, everyone. This is a panel tonight, including there you go. So he said he calls you his arch nemesis.
Arch nemesis. What?
I like that.
This is so true. This is legit. Okay, we have this friendly feud going on, like ninja style, between who gets the most answers and wins the most prizes on with Anna and Fulgence.
Oh.
And we're neck to neck all the time. So this is why we're each other's nemesis, because we're in a friendly competition over who can get the most right answers and Ecamm merch.
So your name comes
I love
up a
AG.
lot.
He's such a good man.
He is really, really cool. Had a chance to hang out with him at the campus. Well, I actually got a video of him. Really cool guy.
Yes, sir.
And I need to check out that content, man. I need to see what you're working on. And Erica from Talk Virtual, thank you so very much for hanging out. She's saying hello to everybody. And let me see, Kirk, I always do my own thing. I guess I'm like Jeffrey Ross. Okay, there you go. There you go. Well, thank you so very much. Guys, we have a lot to talk about tonight. And
yes, we do. Yes, we do.
We're doing the community engagement because we like to do this. We like for you guys to be a part of this. Part of, I can share this. It's not really a secret. Kirk knows it. Like, part of our monthly shows, we want to highlight and have people from the Ecamm family come on. And we've already talked about the Ecamm camp we all went to, had a chance to meet and hang out. All four of us kind of was there and had our experience. But I'm bringing you on because you represent the people that are watching today, other Ecammers that are using the software in the system to be able to do their content, to be able to engage with their audience, to be able to connect and, build these businesses and these companies that we're all trying to build, right? So you represent the people that are watching today, and I want to thank you for that. Because when I was thinking, and Kurt and I was talking about who we have on, and you two came up, be perfect. Like, how often can I get Tatiana, and how often can I get Tanya to be a part of the stream show? That's always in my mind. Okay, ladies, I'm just letting you know.
No, he's not even. This is nothing in this is jokes. This is not for the live. I'm telling you, this was a part of our conversation. Like, how can we get? That's what I love about Strick. He's always trying to look for balanced engagement. He really wanted to have a panel. Already two guys, wanted to have two women to give a different perspective in terms of content creators and engaging. I mean, engaging an audience may be different as a woman as it will be for a man. So we wanted to have that balanced approach tonight, and we're excited that both of you guys accepted. You're both rock stars in your own rights, and so we're excited to have your input tonight for sure.
I want to start off with this first question. Okay, I'm sorry, because I do want you guys to respond to that if you wanted to.
No, just wanted to say thank you. It's an honor always to be in the space that you all put together, because you are such a welcoming community. When I say you, I mean both of you, each of you individually.
You're pointing that to me. I'm clearly.
Look,
I'm sure you're talking to me individually. No worries.
You know I'm right.
I feel like we're having
about each of you individually and both of you as a community. In addition to everybody else at the Ecamm fam, I think I have not run into a single person who is selfish about embracing other community creators and showcasing other people's skills, even when they sometimes overlap. And that's one of the things that I think I just love about this family and this community. So thank you.
Yeah.
Listen, reason number. Go ahead. No, go ahead, Tatiana.
My response to that too is that I think that the Ecamm family, the Ecamm community is so authentic in that I'm a regular person in Ecamm as well, watching the lives, engaging, consuming, learning, and then being on the live streams with you guys tonight. It's like I'm just a part of the community, and not just in a demeaning way. It's like just in terms of so are you, right? Like we're so
I
much
love that.
on the same playing field, no matter what stage of skills we're at, no matter how long we've been learning Ecamm or live streaming or creating content. It just feels very, very authentic to me. And that's why I love this community so much is who you guys were at Ecamm, Creator Camp is who I see on the live streams, is who I see here tonight too. And I feel like myself in your presence as well. So I think that's what makes it so lovable and the attractive element to people to want to stay and be a part of it too.
Yeah.
I
That
do
is so
appreciate
good.
you saying
So
that.
yeah, no, I was just gonna say this is reason number 4026 why you should join the Ecamm fam. All right, we'll get back to the regular.
So I do want to
Ecamm
start with this question for you, Tanya. Did I do enough reminding and notifications about today's show?
I was going to tell you behind the scenes, but I'll tell you now since you asked.
Yes,
I was so
ma'am.
impressed. I'm like, oh my God, he is upgrading his system. Like he sent a reminder in advance and let me know instead of letting me know the last minute right before we go live. I was so proud of you. I
I
am
do
proud of you.
appreciate that. So there were several notifications and emails that went out. And to be honest with you, I want to share the system that I use to do that. It's called
Okay.
Google
That's
Calendar.
good. It's a Google Calendar, but
It is free.
I want to say this as well because Tatiana touched on it in terms of being part of the community and consuming, and then of course being on screen. And I don't want anybody to ever feel like we're not learning too. So
Yeah.
like as we bring Tatiana and Tanya on tonight, I've got my pen and paper as well. Like I mean, when we had Justin Brown on, we've got our pen and paper as well. You know, when we have Laura on in a couple of weeks to finish up that audio conversation, we've got pen and paper as well. So we're just kind of facilitating the learning that's happening as your host. But man, I'm telling you, there's a lot, and you can hear from what DJ Strick is saying in terms of some of the systems he's put in place from since the last time we had Tanya on. So I'm excited for that. I also want to say this to Lux, who is a new community member. What you feel, that's real. And I'm excited to have you, excited that you're joining the community, excited that you're with us. And yeah, don't be shy. Put your questions out there, engage, respond, laugh, comment. That's the best way to really gain the most out of the Ecamm fam, in my opinion. So
Yes. And I just
yeah,
want to say thank you to Lux for coming tonight. That's really glad to have you here, Lux.
absolutely.
That's cool. So let's jump right on into it. Now, we're talking about mastering audience engagement. We had a chance to talk. So if you watch my format, try in the beginning to do some of that. It may not be as long. We do have some community members, people that always watch the show, that are always a part of what we're doing here. And I very much so thank you that some people watch and never comment. And some people watch and comment all the time. And we do have some newbies here today. Please let us know where you're watching from. Chime in, say hello. We will speak back to you as well. So that being said, I want to jump right into how to master this. And let's start with mastering audience engagement. Why do I use that term? I guess I'll say it this way. When you want to do something, the idea of doing it well is important. Okay, you won't start out that way. So you want to practice the art of doing some audience engagement. Okay, so when you practice it over and over and over again, that gives you an opportunity to master it. So just like Kirk said, we have taken notes from our guests. We're going to be taking notes from these young ladies tonight. We want you to take notes. You may not be at the end at the beginning. Okay, let me say it this way. You won't be at the end at the beginning. Start taking on some of this, whether it's one step at a time, so that you can begin to master the audience engagements portion to what you do. that being said, Kirk, you want to add anything to that as we go to the next part?
No, I'd definitely be thinking about your process as well. Thinking about your show format, because engagement is going to be tailored to your specific, your flow and your way. And so, we're going to share some things. Some of them are going to be general. Some of them are going to be very specific in how we apply them. But kind of look to grasp some of the principles from that to see what you can apply for your own and to take it to the next level and test it out as well. Listen, don't be afraid, y'all. Test that thing out.
Test it out.
See what works and ask your audience, how was that? Put some polls out there. I've been doing some polls on my channel and getting some really good engagement in terms of feedback from those who are my diehards. So definitely, look into some of those things.
So Tatiana, I want to start with you because I know this is a part of your business now. So you are an adjunct professor at a college, correct?
That's right.
Did I remember that it's Rutgers?
That's right.
Oh man,
so
I'm winning.
Right. Yep.
No notes, no
points
anything.
for you. Points for you.
Yeah.
I gotta grab you a nice sound effect. There you go. That is correct.
There you go.
University.
I feel it. So I know you have some things that you teach and you try to help other professors or other people that are online that are trying to engage in the audience. And there is some type of mind mapping that you do to kind of help that. Do you mind sharing some of that as we get started?
Yeah. Before we launch into, we all want the strategies, but nobody goes into the race immediately without doing some of the prep work. And I love to use the analogy of like being in the kitchen and cooking because I love to cook. So I really think that there are 3 important ingredients to create this beautiful dish that in the end is going to taste delicious to you and to your audience. And those 3 things may not be what you think.
Okay.
The first thing that I think we need to have is to develop our creativity muscle. And what I mean by that is some rhetorical questions for you here, right? Questions that you answer inside of your mind. How creative are you? Just genuinely, what's your response to that? Hopefully you said you are very creative, but how do you build even more creativity? Where does creativity come from? So let me kick that answer back to you guys and even and everybody watching, listening in the chat. Where does creativity come from? I'd like to know what your answers to that is.
So I guess I'll throw it out there. My creativity comes from ChatGPT.
Stop.
Now listen, that is a valid point.
Come up with some ideas for me that I can seem like I know what I'm talking about and I can be creative. Boop. No, I
think
do.
ChatGPT is a great tool to help with blank page syndrome or to come up with more ideas. Possibly you might like half of one, but that might lead to something you do like. So I do get your point on that, even though I know you were joking, but I get the point for sure because I do think it's helpful.
Anybody else want to chime in?
Where does creativity come from?
Go ahead. I saw you, Kurt.
Trying to find an unmute button. There's a little baby in the house with me here, so I'm trying to save you guys from some of. But I have in my notes here. You can't use up creativity. The more you use, the more you have. So I would say creativity breeds creativity. Creativity is contagious. Creativity has to be stopped, maybe even contained. I don't know. I don't know that it comes from, I guess, a permission that you give yourself to be creative and to think outside of the box, to understand the parameters, and then kind of launch from there. I try my best to keep it short because I really love this line of questioning and I could really go, but I'm just going to leave it there.
So
Wayne Dyer,
I was watching
Wayne
you
Dyer
go.
says, Wayne Dyer says, creativity means believing you have greatness. Yeah. That's a quote that I absolutely love. And so when you are creative, as I mentioned, I'm trying my best to, but when you are creative, you tap into an attribute of the creator. All right, let me stop there.
Okay.
I love it.
That was fantastic. And Tanya, what would you like to add to that?
Yeah, I'm going to keep it brief because I know that Kirk and Strick had some really salient points. One of the things that I would say, or all I would add to this, is it can come from experiences that you've had previously. It can come from visions and dreams that you have of what is to be, what's possible. It can come from outside influences, inner thoughts. There's all kinds of different sources that this can come from what you read, from what you intake. So that's one of the reasons why I'm constantly telling my kids, you have to be careful what you're allowing into your space, because your level of creativity and what you come up with in terms of those visions and what you're trying to turn into a reality, it may not be going in the direction that it should be going. So going back to what Kirk said about the creator, but I'll stop there. It can come from a lot of places.
I'm trying my best.
Listen, guys, you're
going to take me down. I'm going to have to do a whole Baptist shout.
I know, right?
That was beautiful and rich and had so much depth in the answers, and is right in line with the things that I talk about with my college students as well about creativity, because very often people say, I'm not creative. And what they mean is, I don't have drawing skills, right? We have a very often a misguided limitation on what it means to be creative.
That's true.
And Kirk, you said the permission thing too. And I very often will show on screen like an example of a permission slip, like from when we were kids. And we very often need to give ourselves permission.
Yes.
Just be
so
creative.
Good.
Also, from a spiritual standpoint, I don't know everybody's spiritual backgrounds and beliefs for everyone in the chat and everything, but I do believe in tapping into the unlimited creativity of our creator.
That's true.
As well. So for you, it might be a spiritual matter, right? Those of you guys listening, it might be a spiritual point for you guys too.
I think we're all shouters here, Tatiana.
Yeah.
You're on the right track. You're on the right track.
But here's the thing. I do think that creativity comes from play and joy and fun in our lives. And so if we're not having fun, if we're not experiencing joy, if we're not playing like kids love to play, we're not reaching our creative potentials. And so I wanted to start with that as the first basic ingredient, because engaging with our audience is a creative act. And in order to be creative, we need to believe we can have creativity. And like you said too, Kirk, it is not limited. It is limitless, right? You don't cap out on creativity. So that's the first thing. Creativity is number one. Number two, I think, is being genuine, right? So a lot of you guys, you've met me, you've seen me talk before. You know Kirk, you know Strick, you know Tanya, you know Roy, we know so many people here. But tell me something. None of us are the same, right? I can't talk like Strick. Tanya doesn't talk like me, but we are all our own authentic selves. And when we're starting streaming, especially if you're feeling a little bit shy or restricted, you might be working on finding your voice. But the idea is, like, I remember when I went on my first date with my partner, I just remembered feeling that the entire time on that date, I was 100% myself. And that is the goal that I want to have when I am creating my content as well. Knowing I'm going to be nervous too, right? Like, I accept the nervousness as I really care. This really matters. But can I show up and be me? Another word for that is authenticity, right? Being authentic. And, I have a professional crush on Brene Brown. She was actually mentioned in the chat earlier, I think by Dan. And she does so much work on vulnerability and being authentic. There are lots of other people that do that kind of work too. So that is ingredient number two, is being you, being comfortable with yourself. I mean, you guys know Doc Rock. He's comfortable being himself. You guys know Katie. She's comfortable being herself, right? You see Anna and Fulgens themselves. Like, that's what people love. And I know that you love it too. You love to see a person's authentic self, that personality, that spice that only they can bring to the conversation. And so I just want to make sure that everybody listening is being themselves as well. So I'll open it back up to hear what you guys think about that.
I love that. I love the fact that as we get started and thinking about audience engagement, I've always tell people this: don't go onto TikTok and dance unless you want to continue to make TikTok dances. Okay.
For sure.
Why is that? If it's not in you to continue to dance for the next 10 years or whatever. Don't do that. Be who you are in your content, and you will be forever creating out of who you are. So I absolutely love that. Sometimes people don't understand what being authentic is. It took me in the radio business when I started out. It really took me 2 to 3 years to have my own voice and personality. I had to figure out what I needed to do because the reserved chill strict wasn't the person that people wanted to go to the party with. That personality wasn't big enough to engage a whole audience of radio listeners. So I had to be a little bigger in my personality for that particular role. And it took me some time to figure that out. And that's the same thing I feel about when I am in front of the camera for, when you're live streaming. Being authentic doesn't mean that you don't open up your personality to be a little bigger for that time and that moment.
Exactly.
Based on the audience getting the energy from you. When I'm done, guess what? I can chill then.
Let's clarify that point just a little bit, Strick, because we're talking about being ourselves and being authentic, but then we're also saying we have to be bigger. And that is true because of the camera factor. This is just the reality. We do need to amp it up a bit. For example, even right now, I'm elevating my voice a lot more than I would if I was sitting down having a coffee with you.
No,
right now.
You are not, because if you were having a coffee at the creator camp, you were really loud. I heard you.
He just called you out, and I think he's right because I had coffee with you too.
No, I love the foundation that's being laid, and I think I just want to kind of make those connections as well for those that are kind of tracking through. The truth is, they're engaging with your audience is going to be a creative thing, and that's what we were talking about as we shared. You want to make sure that you kind of put your own little flavor on it, your own little stamp on it. I wouldn't necessarily copy, but you could look around as a base, as a jump off point to be able to get started. But how you engage has to be authentically your way of engaging. And sometimes it will require you to get out of your comfort zone a little bit. It's like, okay, I see a comment here. I'm not so sure if I want to take that comment or not. But you never can tell what will happen when you decide to engage. A coaching client said to me recently, like, man, the only thing I don't like about live is that I cannot anticipate what somebody's going to say when live. And so I asked her, do you leave your house every day? And she said, yes. I said, you're live every day. You leave your house, you're live. When you go to the coffee shop, to Starbucks, to pick up that coffee, do you know what the barista is going to say to you? She's like, no. I said, that's live. And you still engage with them. Yeah. Well, I usually have a great conversation with them, but you don't know what they're going to say. Your son or daughter is going to walk up to you tomorrow and they're going to ask you a question. Before they open their mouth, do you know what they're going to say? No, you're live. And I think there's a switch, a realization that happens, a cognizance that we need to be aware of, that we put more weight on this thing called the camera than we probably need to, because we are live. But the truth is, we're live every single day that you are alive. And I think that will help us in terms of engaging with your audience.
And that honestly, for me, being the introvert that I am, as we talked about on your show, correct, Kirk, for me, it wasn't even about being a bigger personality. It was about giving the best of who I am on camera, right? So it was about me having conversation and recognizing that this thing that we call live streaming, it really is truly a conversation. It's the reason why I love this more than I do produced video, because I get to create community by just using the sound of my voice and the emotion and what I talk about and the content that I'm sharing. I feel it, to what Tatiana was saying. I feel it. I know it. I love it. There's joy when I talk about it, and that shines through on camera. So one of the things I had to pull myself back from is when I was watching, when I first started doing live and I was watching other people's live streams, a lot of them were over the top. They really were. And I didn't see myself. I didn't see my age group. I didn't see a lot of my gender. I didn't see a lot of people that were like me and had my personality or style on camera. And my teaching style was different from some of the other things that I was seeing. So at some point I had to figure out, like you said, Strick, I had to experiment a lot and figure out, okay, I see these things that I like in other people's shows or their delivery. What part of that can I use to amplify my voice, but also at the same time, never forget who I am?
Right.
And the more I owned that, and the more confident I became because I was doing this more and having talks, I heard from other people saying, you know what? I like listening to you when you explain this thing. I heard it from this other person, but it didn't quite click. I heard it from you and it made sense. I think there's someone, there's audience for each and every one of you who are listening to this. So
that is so true. And we have tons of people in the comments. I want to go to this really, really quick, Tatiana, before we go to the presentation. So let's take a look at this. I definitely got to stop right here. Daniel, hey, man, you're here. You're not late.
Hey, Daniel,
Daniel,
whoa. Daniel.
That's my guy.
And Aubrey says hello, and she's also says, you are so right, Strick. I'm just going to stop right here. This is going to be the frame for the rest of the show.
Finally. Thank you, Obs, for giving Strick some love. He's been deficient in it on this live.
This is going to be the show. This is going to be it. Hey, what a wonderful panel of pros. Love this. Thank you so very much for saying that. And Ben sends his love. I want to get to G. Albert's question in just a few minutes. And Aubrey says, boom, yes, Kurt, you are live every day. That was a great quote from him. Got to make sure we pull that out. And she also agreed with you, Tatiana. Go Jersey.
No, that's Tanya.
I think that one was Tanya. But I sure Obs agrees about something with me, too.
Come on, Jersey. Let's go.
There is an audience for all of us. So let's get to G. Albert's question really quick, Tatiana, before you go into your presentation. Sometimes being a perfectionist can hold you back from creating or being creative. What are your guys' recommendations? Now, I will say this. It's slightly off of our audience engagements or mastering audience engagement, but real quick, you know, I always say, or I've said recently, anytime you're perfectionist, it is a good habit to have to want to be your best self, but sometimes your best self could get in your way. All right. So there's nothing you can do that's worth doing that you're going to do perfectly.
That's right.
That was for me. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing
that was good. That's good.
Nothing worth doing that you're going to do perfectly every time. You're going to mess up. And I think that sometimes we think more highly of ourselves, and that gets in our way. I want to look bad. Well, I promise you, the looking bad thing is the best thing you could do because it does connect you to your audience. So I would keep going on that part. I know we're going to, Kirk and Tatiana and Tanya, if you guys want to speak to that as we move. But perfectionists, any recommendations for them?
I'll say something real quick, and then I'll also say that's if you haven't done that already as a topic, I think that could be its own topic for an entire night. It comes up a lot. I hear it come up very often. But what I will say as a recovering perfectionist is that the pursuit of excellence is one thing, like you said, Strick, but perfectionism is a full-on trap. And the trap is in tricking your mind that you are pursuing excellence when in fact you are pursuing the impossible, which is perfection.
Right.
And in doing that, you keep yourself stuck. So the trap is, I just want what's best. I want to be excellent, but it's a lie. So it's just accepting the truth, which is that it is a flat out lie. And perfectionism keeps you stuck, holds you back. And I used the tool by Julia Cameron. It's a book called The Artist's Way. And that was the big revelation in my life a number of years ago to start that process of letting go of perfectionism, embracing my mistakes and normalizing mistakes. And I see it even in my college classes. If I don't make making mistakes a part of the experience, people are always going to be afraid to make a mistake. And the only way we learn is by making mistakes. So fail fast and fail first, I think is an expression out there in the positive mindset world that we need to embrace. Like, just make a bunch of mistakes quickly and move on. They'll stop being so important to you once you just move past them.
That's good.
No need to touch it. Let's get back to this. That was great. Thank you.
I think so too. And let me pull this so that everybody can see it just a little bit better. I think this says it all. Done is better than perfect because perfect never gets done.
Oh,
that's right.
I love that.
Thank
I
you
don't
for
know.
saying that.
Yes.
Yes, I never heard it said that
Alicia.
way, so I'm going to come back to that and write that one down so I can share that. That's awesome. Thank you, Alicia.
Yes. Yes.
So, Tatiana, I know we're talking about mastering. We're going to number 2. That's where we're at.
We just finished number 2. Number 1 was we're talking about the ingredients to mastering audience engagement. Number 1 we said was creativity, allowing yourself to be more creative by having fun, by being healthy, by living a great life and allowing yourself to be playful because creativity comes from all the different areas we talked about. Number 2, we talked about genuineness, where we have to be ourselves in front of the camera during our lives with our audience, in front of our presentations, our classes, whoever our people are, while also knowing we have to elevate a little bit because the communication skills need to be there as well. And now we're up to number 3, which is the audience engagement strategies and concepts themselves, which is what I believe a lot of us came for tonight, is to hear them. So I have my ideas of the ingredients, and I'll share one that I teach in my college classes too. So just imagine you're in my public speaking class with me right now. When we get to the audience engagement section, one of the first things we need to talk about is audience analysis, which is just who are they? Answering the question, who is your audience? And I know that if you're like me in the online platform space,
So good.
In the online platform space, you're just starting out like me. You don't really have a big audience, so you might not know exactly who they are. Just know that I feel you, and you guys who have bigger audiences, you can address this a bit. But when I say who are they, I mean demographics, I mean psychographics, personality things as well, like introversion, extroversion, energy levels, just being aware, who are the people in my audience? What are they like? What common ground do we have? What's the prior exposure to the topic? So for example, tonight, talking about audience engagement strategies, how much does our audience know about this is something I've already thought of and we can relate to because we're relatively in the same boat and we're all doing the same types of things. But thinking about who is your audience is really important, and finding out as much as you can from an anecdotal perspective, from watching people on other streams, from studying things, from doing some online research, from social media. There's so many great ways to find out things about who your audience is. So that's the part that I wanted to touch on to remember, is thinking and answering those questions at the very first level as you begin the audience engagement process. What do you guys think? Do you ever sit and think about who is your audience?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That is to me, that I couldn't agree with you more. That's why I interrupted and I didn't realize I wasn't on mute. So when I was like, so good, I was like, oh shoot, you can hear me. But no, that is such a critical piece. Such a critical piece. The only thing I would add to that, Tatiana, is that because I did public speaking as well as and it's still something that I'm very much pursuing. But you do want to go into your engagement, whether it's live for an audience like this or into an actual venue where you're speaking or presenting, doing a workshop, seminar, or keynote, and you want to have some information, some idea of who it is, who am I speaking to? How can I contextualize this? How can I make it so that it will, what I'm sharing, because the value is still the same, it's just I want to deliver it in a way that allows them to receive it.
Yes.
I got a chance to speak to a bunch of fifth graders, sixth graders at my daughter's school for career day. And they were like, yeah, we want to make sure we want a YouTuber to come and speak because that's a lot of them want to be YouTubers. So I'd run up to the front with a lot of energy. Hi, everybody. I'm Kirk Nugent. I'm a YouTuber. And this little hand goes up in the front. I'm like, whoa, I'm not ready for questions yet. And she's just wiggling that little hand. And I'm like, okay, this is going to be interesting. So I said, okay, all right, I want to take this one question, but we're going to take questions at the end. Is that okay? Because I only had 7 minutes. There's a bunch of other parents waiting to go. This little girl says, aren't you my pastor? I was like, oh. I said, what church do you go to? She says, Oakwood Church. I was like, okay, yes, I am your pastor. She's like, so how can you be a YouTuber and a pastor? And that literally made my entire presentation because the context, because of that audience and their context, it allowed me to shift what I was actually going to present and respond to her question, which was more valid for not only her, but the whole audience. So I love the way you frame that. And I think sometimes we can get those clues from the audience, but also it just kind of, if you look at yourself it can be a microcosm. It can be a projection of what your audience looks like as well. So those are some of the things I would love to just tap in there. But I think really I couldn't agree more. You want to make sure you speak to the audience and know who they are.
Yep. Who are they? Number one. And then once you know who they are, and I'm assuming you've already established what you want to talk about, whether it's for the season, for the month, for the session, for the live, for the hour. Once you've said, who are they and what am I going to talk about? The next question is, why should my audience care about what I want to say?
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about that tonight, guys, together. Why should everybody listening to this live stream on the replay, listening to us live here, why should they care about this topic? What do you guys think, Tanya? Why should they care?
Well, first of all, because Tatiana is teaching. They should care.
Period.
They should care. That's, mic drop right there. But no, seriously.
Thanks,
one of the things I think that Strick knows exactly who this audience is, right? Strick and Kirk are on here, every week at least? Sometimes
Sunday
more
nights,
than.
get the stream show.
Hey, so if you're here every week, you know the audience is here to get content that's going to help them to do certain things, to meet certain objectives, to have a certain outcome when they too are putting themselves out in a live streaming space or other type of media where they're going to be visually showing up, right? So to me, this is an important topic in that it applies generally to probably everybody who is in this chat. So anybody who's watching this video, anybody who's listening to this, if it's on audio later on for replay, this is probably applicable to you, or else you would have tuned out by now. Right? So I think that whole connection about knowing who the audience is, which again, let me backtrack a little bit because you kind of mentioned this, but I want to say it again for those people in the back, like I was. When I didn't know anything at all about live streaming and I was just brand new to this space and I just said, hey, I'm going to go out here and I'm going to try this live video thing and I'm going to do it every week for a year and had crickets. You won't always from the beginning, from jumpstart, know exactly who it is you're speaking to. So you're going to have to experiment. You're going to have to figure out the things that you like to talk about. You're going to figure out who are the people that you really enjoy hanging around. Because there were certain people I thought were my target audience. And it turned out maybe that's not really the audience that I reached the best and the most with the content that I love to share. So it's going to make adjustments. You will have adjustments over time the more you do this, but you have to keep showing up. I wrote a post about this the other day and said, your number one job is to show up. Everything else will come. So if you're sitting here and you're watching this right now and you're listening to, the sound of our voices and listening to the tips and the advice, and you don't know who it is that your target audience will be or who they are right now, keep talking, keep doing your research, ask questions, which is one of the tips that I'll share a little bit later about engagement, but ask questions, understand, read as much as you can, study other people's videos that are in similar niches as yours. Go to Quora, go to Amazon, look up the best sellers that talk about the topics that you want to talk about and see what type of questions and feedback people are putting into the comments, because all of that information is going to help you to really get clarity about your audience, and it may change. One last point I'll make, and I know you can switch it back if you need to, but the Stanley Cup, everybody's heard about the Stanley Cup because it's been a hot thing, right? So what happened with them, they have been around for a long time. I think it was 1920 or something when that cup was first introduced. But what I've read is that the reason why they blew up the way they did is because they made a shift in their target audience for that cup. Originally, it was these rustic, brawny men, these cowboys, right? People who were on the range. They needed this hardy cup. But when they were approached by this group of women influencers on Instagram who said, hey, we love the cup too, and here's why we love it, and here's the benefits, and these are the features that we love about this cup, the company shifted their target audience. And when they shifted their audience, that blew that brand up. But now everybody's talking about it. So I just want y'all to be open to the shift because it might happen. And if it does, and when it does, that's going to be gold.
Did she say open to the shift? Oh my God! Let me. Where's my mule? I'm sorry.
And Chris is
that's speaking to me too, Tanya. Thank you.
We are taking him to school tonight, so definitely shouts out to you, Chris, and for kind of helping us out. And also, Lux is saying, hey, entertainment and education. I think people usually expect one or both of these. Really, really good as well.
Yes, we call that edutainment, Lux. Thank you.
Edutainment. I love that. Yo, the ladies are dropping bombs. I'm not even gonna say nothing. I've got notes right here.
I'm quiet, sir. I'm learning tonight. I'm learning tonight. So that's.
I knew about that Stanley thing, but never looked at it from the perspective of audience and target and making that shift. And that's so good. I'm gonna leave it there. I'm just gonna leave it there. Let's continue on.
A great example. They're selling out of this cup. I'm trying to figure out why they're selling out of this cup. I got tons of thermal cups. Like, what's the big deal? It's who is pushing it now. Like, what audience is behind it. And if you show me a Stanley Cup with a cowboy on it, I would respond one way. If you show me a Stanley Cup with a cowgirl drinking it, that's a totally different perspective.
Yeah. If you change the colors to pink and pastels, and now you got these new lines, and you see people in a whole different setting using the cup, and they see themselves in that setting, it's a whole different thing. So we think about our any type of media that we're putting out there, whether it's audio, video, whatever we're putting out, social content, we have to think about maybe my audience isn't who I think or who I thought they were. And study that and make some shifts and see if maybe that changes the game for you.
Ooh, good stuff. Good stuff. Tatiana, put it back in your hands.
I take a sip from my Stanley Cup right now. I ponder her wisdom.
There you go.
I want to say to somebody who's listening. That is so dope. I want to say to somebody that's listening, you're wanting to engage your audience, and listen, I don't miss all of the points that are being shared, but also don't miss the permission that's being given you to experiment, to test, to course correct, to see where the water is going to go, because water will find a way. And sometimes we got to find where the water is going naturally instead of trying to blast through a rock. Let's go with the flow. And as you figure out some of those pieces, you may find that, I thought this was for these folks here, but it's really trending and impactful and groundbreaking for this group. And if I just change my messaging slightly, because the audience engagement comes down to how am I going to package this thing so that it's well received? For the child who needs to take that medicine and the mother crushes it up and puts it in yogurt, it's about her getting the medicine. Okay. We want to package it in a way that she can receive it. And so you got to think about that for your content as well.
Good stuff.
Yes.
All right, Tatiana. I mean, you're hitting some home runs here.
Yes. All right. So we've got what you're tracking. We've got who's your audience. You've got what your content, what you want to say. You got to step it up and amplify your game when you're speaking like this, because it is public speaking. You've established so much already, right? We've talked about so many things, and I'll probably need to watch this replay myself to catch it all, because Tanya was really speaking to me back there. But the next part of this, is understanding a bit about the science of audience engagement, the science of memorability, a focus of what we remember, the science of attention. And for this, I want you to look up another professional crush of mine, Dr. Carmen Simon, Carmen with a C, Simon. She talks a lot about this. And the one key point I want to share with you tonight, because we could have a whole separate show about this, is take a guess, guys. What percentage of the content we share tonight will people remember? What percentage of the content any of us ever share, then this is on the average, right? Sometimes it'll be more, sometimes it'll be less, depending on the individuals. But on the average, based on Dr. Carmen Simon's work, and some of you guys listening might have heard me say this before, so you might know the answer. I'll give you 3 choices. Is it A, 10%? Is it B, 30%? Or is it C, 50%? What percentage of the content any of us share will people remember?
I'm going to go with A, 10%.
Okay, you're saying 10%.
I'm going to go with that
10%.
too.
Okay, 10%.
Mm-hmm.
Kirk, what do you think?
I'm going to go with A as well, just because of peer pressure. No, just
That's funny. That's funny. Hold on, Tatiana. Let's see here. So Walter, what's up, my man? He thinks 15%. So I think he answered before you put up the 3 options. Walter, it's good to see
That's
you.
okay.
We got Walter coming in a couple of weeks to be a part of the stream show, and I can't wait to have you on, sir. Simply Ob says 10%. And Ben says 25. That wasn't one of the options either, Ben, but you may have put it in before. And I think that's where Walter came back and said 10% because it was based off of the
option
choice, the options you gave us. AG says A, which is 10%, and I'm taking notes, so 25% for him. And if you're taking notes, that does take it up a little bit.
That does take it up. Does take it up.
So there
That's
we go.
True. It's a very valid point right there.
Here's the answer. Remember this. The answer is 10%. 10%. And
can I tell you something, Tatiana? I do want to say this. Most of the times on like multi questions and point stuff, I'm always right, but I digress. I'm sorry.
It's 10%. It's 10%. So again, when we're teaching, when we're streaming, when we're persuading, when we're entertaining, we have to know this very basic fact from the world of neuroscience, right? The study of our brains as humans. People are only going to remember 10% of what you say. And her advice, which I totally agree with, again, that's Dr. Carmen Simon. I want you to look her up. She's great. Remember that we don't control how much people remember, but we can help make the 10% they're going to remember the 10% we want them to remember by what we say, how we highlight it, how we address it. And so this is the connection to audience engagement. This is where we have to understand they're only going to remember 10%. What can we do to make that 10% really stick? What we know is the most important part for them. So this is where understanding active learning comes in. And I do want to say that there's a little bit of a difference between being engaged and actively participating, right? So you can be in your kitchen, making dinner, doing the dishes, working on some tools, working on a project, and engaged because you're fully listening to the podcast, right? You're still engaged. You're not in that moment actively participating, but you might be in your mind. But when I say actively participating, I mean, are you having your audience do something? Think about something. Are you involving them in a quiz question? Are you asking them to comment in the chat? Are you reading their comments from the chat, giving them recognition for that? So there's the piece that now we move into active engagement strategies, actively engaging your audience. And there are so many ways to do that. And it depends how you run your stream too. But you've already seen great examples tonight. So Strick, can you bring us back on all together? Because I'd love to ask you guys, what are some of your favorite ways to engage your audiences when you're doing a live stream like we are tonight? What are some of your favorite ways to engage the audience? And for those of you listening, if you can put in the chat, what are some of your favorite ways to be engaged as audience members? And let's see what kind of answers we all can come up with tonight.
I always go first, Kurt. Thank you. I always just jump right in. So Kirk, is you. Go ahead.
No, my personal preference in terms of being engaged at when I'm in an audience for a live show, or even I'm trying to expand it a little bit, even when I'm at a event, when I'm going to a seminar, or even listening to a keynote, is when the speaker or presenter actually does engage, meaning they're not asking a question that is rhetorical. They're asking a question to actually gain feedback, and then they take the answers they've received to that questions and use it as a portion of their presentation, meaning the answer confirms something, or it is interesting to the speaker, or says the speaker says tell me more. I feel like there's this organic thing that happens when speakers or presenters or streamers engage the audience really for the sake of engaging them, so that's one for me. So I'll throw that out there. I just wanted to kind of
that makes sense. That makes a lot of good sense.
So from an engagement standpoint, where I'm engaging people in my community, and I feel the same as Kirk does, I like to be engaged this way too. I prefer to give my community a sense of identity right off the top. So I help them to identify with being in one or more groups by saying, hey, so most people know, if they watch my show, I start off by saying, if you've ever been a guest of the show, if you've ever been in the show, if you've ever seen the show, you're family. So type in #OG. If you're new to the show, you've never been here before, never seen it, type in #newbie. We want to acknowledge you no matter what family you fall into or community you fall into. So now I have people over time that became something where I didn't even have to say it. Like my OGs know right off the bat. They just come in saying #OG.
Right? Yeah, and Dan did that tonight, Tanya, right? He used that hashtag tonight, and that's the reference.
Yes. So giving that sense of identity and belonging, I love feeling that way. So I wanted to gift that to the people that have taken the time to be a part of my space as well, or people who are new and don't know any better yet. Now they're learning, and I'm kind of training them subconsciously, right, on how to interact, and that this is real, this is live. I'm expecting that you will interact as I'm asking questions and offering up things. So that's just one for me.
I love it. That's great. And of course, I'm a part of Tanya's community. So
there's some OGs in the chat right now. There's some OGs in the chat right
now. And let me do this. Let me go to the comments real quick.
Yeah. I want to shout out Walt. I want to shout out Walt as well, Strick, because he has a couple of comments here that I thought were really dope. So definitely want to shout him out as well. Thank you for coming through tonight, Walt.
Hey, Walter, I always say this. Anytime you say anything good about us, it automatically gets on the screen. You know what I'm saying? Just say something good about him. Chris does a great job at facing his engagement, still being able to get his main point across without getting distracted by the chat or by the audience. Is really, really good. And thank you for your comments. In settings like this, chat engagement is a must. The worst is being ignored, and I completely agree with that.
Right. I think the four of us feel the same way as you do about that.
Say my name. Say my name.
Absolute
wonder. My posts and comments and questions.
My comments.
So I wanted to get to that because I have this experience a couple of times. I have this experience a couple of times. A friend of mine is a DJ. He was going live on Facebook. I'm actually driving, but I made just a quick little post or comment inside of his live streaming. He shouted me out. So this is not a radio station. This is live streaming through my car, and I'm hearing this, and he's shouting me out, and we're like worlds apart. And I was on just a couple of days ago on Tanya's show in the comments, and Tanya stops what she's doing in the midst of all her other stuff and mentions my name in my comment. She also mentions that she's going to be coming on today's show. And is that engagement? I'm like Walter, like if I comment in a couple of times and I don't get some type of comment about what I've talked about, I'm thinking that the person is ignoring me. Like, what did I do wrong? Like, just say, hey, I see your comment. I see what you're saying. Like, I think that is also important. I don't think that everything that I say or everything that a audience member said needs to be highlighted. It's not everything, because I am ultimately, and the host is ultimately in control. But, at least acknowledge that you saw it, or acknowledge that they're watching. Those things go a long way, because remember, there are people that are watching that are not commenting, and then there are people that are watching that want to be a part of the conversation, and you have to acknowledge that person making the other step, because people that are watching but are not commenting, they will be encouraged that, oh, that's what happens when you go on. I
Comment,
remember
right?
the first time that I made a comment on Doc Rock's show, and he shouted me out the very first
Mm-hmm.
time.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
that rocked my world that he would shout
Yeah.
out DJ Strick. And actually, on that day, he actually made another name for me. So he never really called me DJ Strick. He just made up a name. But that was a connection that he had with who I was that helped him to remember. So I'm just sharing that because I believe it goes a long way. And I'm hoping I answered your question as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Listen,
It sure did. I'm going to grab something.
no, no,
I'll be back in 5 seconds.
Sure. So
I
let's do
want to
this
say
really
this
quick.
because I think Walt Jeanette just dropped a gem. And it's exactly what I was going to say based on what Strick was sharing. I hope that people picked it up. It's not just about the direct value. It's sometimes the indirect value that you can glean from what people are sharing, because that right there is a gem. He showed up on Tanya's show in the comments. Now, I want to be clear. You got to be genuine on this, but it can sometimes catapult you into other people saying, who is this person? The person I'm watching right now is going to be on their show. Okay, well, let me go and see what their thing is about. And then he talked about being on my show, and there are people who are in my audience that now show up whenever he goes live because of his presence on my show. And I think these are some of the things we're talking about in terms of not only engaging your audience, but growing your audience as well. Especially if you find synergies between other live show hosts and yourself, make sure you guest on there, because that can help you grow. That's awesome.
That's good. That's
That's
good.
awesome.
That's good. Did I miss anything else in there? So, you say something good. Yes. Tanya, we all want to be a part of the community. And I also had a couple of OGs in here. OG, you know what I'm saying? OG Ecamm line.
What's up?
So Walter was also giving us, if you can hear me, drop a 1. If you can see me, drop a 2. It is automatic as far as audience engagement inside of his live streams. I like when the presenter re-comments on the program. It goes into making me feel like I'm a part of the conversation. I love
Yes.
it. I love it. I love it. So what else is there? I thought we had a question.
Can I say something
Albert
for AG's comment there real quick? For AG's comment, I want to say this because I don't want to skip over this. I think it's a great comment, but I want to just make one slight tweak. It's not that it's not like you're a part of it. You are the conversation. So don't miss that. And I think for us as streamers, you're not doing your people a favor by doing the comments and doing engagement. This is the work. Like, this is the whole point. The reason why they're showing up is because they want to engage with you, and you ought to engage with them. It's a two-way street.
Yes,
So if you're
it
just
is.
shouting into the ether, hoping that you're gonna impact lives, that's cool, but you really want to make sure that they're able to respond back, and then you're able to acknowledge it and have that have impact in your overall content. So I just wanted to throw that in there as well.
Yeah, I've got a couple things to point out from what it's been saying as well. And it was so eloquently said in the comments earlier, say my name, and we've all been talking about this, but that is one of the top strategies. There's an old book. I think it was written in the 1920s or 30s, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Most of you have probably heard of the principles in this book. It literally says in this book, there's no sweeter sound to the human being than their own name. And even if they don't find it sweet, like Roy said, they will pay attention. So it's a strategy for engagement, but it's also a strategy for attention. And like you all have been saying, I just want to underscore that for myself as well. When I'm in a stream, in a chat, in a conversation, in person, in a discussion, in an event, and people say, yes, Tatiana, or thank you, Tatiana, that means something to me. And so when we're the leaders, when we're the coaches, we're the teachers, we're the streamers, we're the content creators, we need to remember that feels good to other people, because we can sometimes get in our head and we've got our agenda. We've got our bullet points. By the way, I came prepared with like 5 hours of content tonight. I can't deliver all of that tonight, right? I can't. You have to leave room. This is the other side of that tip. You need to be prepared, right? You can't just show up with nothing. But you can't be so strict that your audience is vibrant, having a great conversation in the chat, and you're ignoring it.
Yeah.
That defeats the purpose of building community because, like someone pointed out earlier, you feel ignored. So yes, you have your agenda. And I know people who balance it well by having their segment, then going to the Q&A, going to the chat rather than the continuous chat. And some of you guys might be like me where you're just growing your audience. So it's a little bit small and more manageable. Many of you are way, way, way high in the numbers. And it would be impossible to read all of the chats, comments all of the time. But just think about that. Make sure that you're including it. Remember how it feels to be an audience member so that when you're in charge, you're able to deliver that great experience to your audience as well. So I love all the comments. I love what you guys have been sharing tonight. It's fantastic. It's just such a rich conversation.
This is the thing that Tatiana is saying, but not directly saying. You actually need to be an audience member in order for you to remember while you're live what it's like to be an audience member.
Yeah,
So some of your homework tonight is to just figure out which live shows you want to attend and get in the comments and feel how it feels. That's somebody's homework tonight. It's just go and do just that. I also want to say this to honest accomplice. I think there, Keith Kirk, I've had streams. I'm assuming you're saying didn't acknowledge comments because it wasn't the right point and time. Do you believe you always need to respond? I think you can acknowledge a comment and not respond.
I agree.
Correct.
You can. I did that earlier. Albert had a question. It wasn't quite on topic with what we're talking about tonight, but he waited until a good point. He acknowledged it, and then he waited until a good point to actually respond to it. And I think there's a number of different schools of thought where this thing is concerned. I will tell you Kirk's opinion where it comes on to live. It is the continuation of a conversation you've already begun with your audience, whether it's through a quote meme, a graphic, a flyer, thumbnail, the description. You're continuing that conversation. But if it's a conversation, you do need to actually allow your audience to respond. That's the point of live. So I even if you have a teaching moment in your live, I don't think there should be a live show where you don't engage with your comments. So I hope that helps. And I thank you for engaging with us tonight. Good. Strick, I'm kicking it back to you.
Absolutely.
Can I add something real quick? Can I just
listen? If Tanya wants to say something, we're all going to be quiet.
You need to stop. No, this is just one thing. Because this is something that came up for me when I was first starting out. And so it may happen for some of you. You may get distracted. There may be comments from people who probably are way off topic and don't belong in your feed. They really are there just to create chaos. Okay, so I want you to also know that you don't need to pull up every comment. What's going to happen is over time, you'll start to learn that it is a balancing act. So one of the things I learned right off the bat, in a bad way, y'all, is I don't have comments just constantly streaming because I tried that. You can do that in Restream, right? So I had chat constantly streaming, and then there were some things that popped up, y'all, that were really inappropriate.
Right.
And so I want you to just prepare yourself that you need to have that button ready to block. You need to have a backup plan or a plan B, and you need to be prepared to skip those comments like that, those that go to the extreme and have nothing at all whatsoever to do with the conversation that's taking place. They're literally there to troll your show. It's going to happen, especially this is an important point now because a lot of people are starting to test out the vertical live streams.
Oh, yes.
So
say that.
You're doing that in YouTube Shorts right now. And you just need to know that there are going to be people who have no idea. They don't know anything about you. You don't know anything about them. They're just there to create chaos. And it is happening in some people's shorts. So just be prepared. And this is why you have to go back to what Tatiana said earlier. Have that joy, have that peace, be mentally ready when you go live so that you are in the zone. You're having the conversation with the right people. My mantra is right people, right message, right time.
Say that one more time. Come on,
Tanya.
Come on, I got to write this down.
Look, right people. And honestly, it was right person.
Okay.
Right message, right time. Because when I had no one, if there was one person that watched the replay, if there was one person that was watching live, I knew that was the right person that was meant to be there.
Oh, come on
So when
now.
you go in there with that focus, so that you can then be prepared to just like dust off those situations where you have that pop up. Okay. I just wanted to make sure to say that in case anybody's like, what? They told me that I need to put all the comments on the screen.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's just clarify that we're talking about within healthy boundaries, within respect, within appropriateness, right? Inappropriate, rude, obscene, just no need to even acknowledge that, right? But absolutely. So you take good care of your hearts, guys. You take good care of your emotional health. You take good care of all of that. So when we're talking about acknowledgement, it's, making sure your people feel seen, heard, appreciated, and valued. But outside of that, you use your wisdom, you use your discretion to handle those things. So do we have time for a little more schooling here?
Let's go.
Okay.
Let's go.
All right. The next thing that everybody has to have, and you might not use this term in your day-to-day. If you ever took a public speaking class, you'll know this. You should have lots of supporting materials ready. So let's just say you're breaking down your live, your video, your course, your presentation into 3 main points. Like most speeches, there's an introduction, there's 3 main points, and there's a conclusion. Your supporting materials are the items that support the points you're trying to make. And these are things like data, like a powerful statistic, like a narrative, an anecdote, a story. And as human beings, you already know how much we love stories. I was tuning in 100% when early on in the chat, Kirk started telling a little bit of a story, right? We're pulled into those stories. The other part of that is using language that's vivid when you're talking about it, using the power, the tonality, the vocal variety in your voice, using your body language to enhance those supporting materials. So you use your body as a tool, you use your voice as a tool when you are delivering all of these things like supporting materials. So what are some of the supporting materials that you guys use in your streams to back up the points that you're trying to make with your audience? Because I've been on streams with all of you and I've listened to all of you and I know that you do it. So what kinds of tools are your favorites to implement as supporting materials? I'll also say that examples and demonstrations are supporting materials as well.
So for me, if I'm doing training and if I'm leading the training, I am using Canva and I am doing my slides. So I will then put myself in a bubble to one side and then I'll have the presentation going. And I like using it in a way that I have the fade in and fade out as I transition from one page to the next. That's how I like to do presentations.
Absolutely. And you know what? I'm going to make a distinction for clarity. The supporting materials and then the audio-visual elements, the presentation aids, are yet another tool for engagement. So that's your supporting materials would be in the presentation. And the presentation, the slides, the visuals, the graphics, the overlays, the scenes, the sound effects are all presentation tools that we use to enhance that sensory experience as well, right? So that's a great point to bring that up, Strick. Thanks.
So are you saying like supporting material maybe like where you got the idea from the book? Like this book talks about it, so and so talks about that supporting material?
Right? Like this, if I reference this book, a source, a story, a data point, an example, a statistic, a graph, all of those things are supporting tools because they support the point we're trying to make. Like, let's say we're all emphasizing that point about say my name, like use people's names to engage them. This book supports that, right?
I like that.
Calling up comments from the chat, support that, back it up, right? The supporting materials that hold up that point.
I like that. So when I'm actually talking about something and I'm saying this is that or do this or I'm explaining how to do it, Strick said it. So that's all the support I need to give.
Yep.
You would be a strong source, right? You'd be a strong research for lots of things related to live streaming.
That is a joke, guys, but it really is how I think. But I digress. Never mind. Anybody else want to respond to that? Strick said it, so there it is. I'm sorry. That's part of my personality. I'm sorry.
But to be like I know you were joking in a what's the joking, not joking thing? What's that, like, kidding, not kidding thing?
My sarcasm or whatever.
Sarcasm. Thank you very much. The sarcasm. But let's just say one of my students is doing a speech on strategies for live streaming, right? And they watch your stream show. They will cite you as a source for the point to, let's say they're making the point that it's important to have panelists on your show, right? And they would use this stream as that source, which is a supporting material to make that point.
Right.
Backing it up with examples. That's what supporting materials do. And stories are great examples of supporting materials.
There you go. I like that.
I like it too. That's good stuff. I think if I were to add anything, similarly, I probably would have answered it the way that Strick did. And I would say, okay, I use different slides and that type of thing. But for me, oftentimes when I'm talking about systems and apps and that type of thing, I get asked different questions where I demo. If somebody says, hey, well, how does this work? Then I'll say, you know what, let me just pull it up and I'll show you. So for me, I guess it's kind of a mix of audio, visual, but also supporting resources, because I oftentimes find myself having to demonstrate or say, okay, here's what I'm telling you, but let me show you why I'm saying this. And here's a potential consequence. And I can do that with a lot of different links and websites, just off the cuff if there's something that I think of. So maybe a little bit of a mix of sources.
That's why I watch your show.
Resonate.
I learn something every time, because you're gonna do a show and tell. Like, what app is she using? I don't know about. I want to get it right now.
I know. Sorry.
Yeah. Now I resonate with what Tanya is saying as well, because I'm very much hands on, and I like to share the screen and show them. But I am huge on story. I am huge on.
And great at it too. You are.
Yeah, yes, he is.
I'm huge on, because I that's how I learn. I learn when I share the story and then I draw the points out. I feel like that is it's far more impactful for me, and I'm specifically catering my content towards those who learn the way that I do, if that makes sense, y'all. So I'm huge. I always have enough data to go double the amount of time I plan to teach, but I also have stories to go along with it. And there's nothing better than having an organic question asked that you can then respond to by sharing a story to couch your answer. And I think that's just, one of my ways. And I hope that I don't know if I'm really even, I hope I'm answering the question, Tatiana, but that's what came to mind when you talked about that.
Yeah, and I think there are no wrong answers to this question. I do think that there are certain types of supporting materials that fit the content better. So for example, if we're teaching Ecamm Live skills, how to make scenes and overlays and add audio effects, then we need demonstration. It's going to be too hard to just talk to you about all of the menus items without actually showing you. So demonstration fits that. But Ben made a nice point in the comment too about comedy and humor. Humor is one of my favorite types of figurative language, rhetorical devices to use in a speech, even though I'm not great at it. I'm not very funny. So it's something I work at really hard to incorporate, because I know how enjoyable it is for an audience. And I say, if you could only have one tool, there's only one type of supporting material that you can use it should be storytelling. It should be narrative. It can be an anecdote. And an anecdote is simply a informal story. An informal story is an anecdote. It's just like catching up with your friends. Oh my gosh, let me tell you what happened yesterday. Whereas a story has a structure. And Strick, I know we don't have enough time tonight to go into all of the elements of story, but I think that it would be a great live stream for the future to sit and help and guide our audience to go through the 3-act structure, to go through all of the formal elements of storytelling, and then we can share our own stories, our own examples, and how we use it formally teaching that. So that's just an idea for perhaps.
I love it. It's a great idea. That's the next show. So when we don't have to talk about what we're going to talk about. We just got to set a date, and we'll talk about story, how to have story in your live stream. I think it's perfect. I've read the books on it. And
everybody's got to come back. That's right. Everybody's got to come back.
Please,
That's right.
Please do.
No. You guys think we're joking, right?
No,
Strick?
it's done. It's done.
No, I'm not.
All we got to do is find the right date.
He's like, we just need a day.
Yeah. You find the right date.
Told you I came with 5 hours of content. So
no, I would say that the learning story, man, it's just a huge cheat code in terms of being able to relay content. And when people get into a storytelling mode, there is an authenticity that comes out. You don't have to write the whole story down verbatim. You just have maybe 1 or 2 notes of the story, because it's your story, it's your thing, and you can just share that. There's a level of authenticity that comes out, and a bonding that takes place with your community that would not happen otherwise. Like I shared with my community that I had a twin that died when I was 2 years old. That you would not believe how that bonded the community together.
Wow.
It was something that I was sharing in terms of something else, but now my community knows that, and they're like, this is a thing that we have in common, or this is something that I know about Kirk that kind of makes me relate to him even closer. So all of those pieces, I think, would absolutely be critical, and a really great next panel discussion for us here at the stream show.
Yeah.
So
and that ties in so
nicely. I love it.
That ties in so nicely to what we talked about in the beginning about being our genuine selves and being able to be vulnerable, not oversharing, because there is a very clear difference, right?
Yes.
But when the matters of the heart that we are happy to say publicly, because we've healed from that, because it's something that we connect to, right? And we can talk about that more when we're doing the storytelling too. But I also wanted to make sure we included some practical tech tools and things that are really powerful in terms of audience engagement. So you guys probably already know the features that are built within Ecamm. So for example, within Ecamm, that we can add sound effects, right? So we can chime in and share little things that this adds audience engagement, right? To use sounds that's built into Ecamm. So that's a great tool we already have. We can
pattern interrupt as well, calls their attention back to the sorry, go ahead.
Absolutely, right? Monotone, Kirk, if we just talk on one note, or it's only me, if I'm the only person talking for even 10 minutes without stopping is too long. It's too long. We have to interrupt the pattern to keep people's attention, for it to feel engaging. So that's an important thing, especially when you're with an audience and you're using those interaction tools. And you guys know, I love Anna and Fulgens so much, and they incorporate quizzes. So, this is something that you can build within Ecamm. Now, this is the question I asked you guys earlier. So first of all, this is how I would show it. This is how I would do it. All right, everyone, I have a question for you. On average, according to Dr. Carmen Simon, what percentage of your content do people remember? A, B, C, or D? Then I would give the choices, right? Hiding, unhiding, and then boom, when it's time to reveal the right answer, I reveal the right answer. So thank you, Anna and Fulgens, for all of your beautiful hard work. You know that they do. You can make so many fun, great things, right? Things here.
That's
again,
right.
This is also from Anna and Fulgens, right? I support them. All right, buy their content. Good stuff. So keep it engaging with your visuals, with your sound, using the tools within Ecamm. But there are also so many awesome tools available online. This is something I did with my class. We were talking about different things, right? So I put in my title, but there is something called flippity.net. On this site, you can find a bunch of different games. I want to encourage you to explore. One that I use in my class specifically. Good. Yes, Kirk, it's good. So I use this Flippity randomizer here, right? And what I did was I created this in a Google Sheet connected to this. So these are lines from past student speeches. So let's say you guys are all in a public speaking class with me. I'm trying to teach the concept of 3D speaking, which is using your words plus an engaging tone plus your body language. And they're starting out the class, so I'm just giving them one line, but they have to add the emotion of the emoji in the wheel. So let's just say, Tanya, I'm going to start with you. So I'll randomly pick your line and your 3 emojis. So your line is, I was almost late for today's class because of the long line at Starbucks. Then you would do it 3 times. The first time, pensive emoji. the second time, scared emoji, and the third time, cowboy emoji. Do you want to give it a shot, Tanya?
That is so dope.
Wait, okay, so the first one is what now?
The pressure.
I'm trying to see. Okay, so cowboy emojis. So am I supposed to just give you the reaction? Which one is the reaction I would use?
Supposed to read it with those tones.
So you would say the line. Let's just say I would say. Go for it. All right, take it away.
Let me see. I'm trying to blow this up because I have mature eyes. So the first emoji, is that a pensive type of emoji?
Yes, almost. To me, I equate it with like British theater guy. Like,
okay, I was almost late. I was almost late for today's class because of the long line at Starbucks.
Let's go.
Okay, Tanya, very nice.
Like
Did everybody catch the change of tone in her voice? That pacing.
I like that.
Right, nice job, nice job. Now, as if you were scared, Tanya.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was almost late for today's class because of the long line at Starbucks.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Come on.
That is amazing. Tanya, nice job. Wow. You embodied with your voice a scared person saying that line.
New career.
There you go. And you are from Texas. So how's that cowboy one coming? Oh, no.
Oh,
come on.
Well, I live in Texas. Yeah. I do have a little bit of a drawl.
Cowgirl, that's for sure.
Come on.
Don't trip.
I saw you with the boots at Crater Camp.
You know what? I did have the boots and I have a hat too. I was almost late for today's class because of the long line at Starbucks.
Listen,
that is so good, guys.
Listen,
guys,
she did that.
We got to give it up. We got to give it up for Tanya. I'll come back over here.
She did that. There you go. The cowgirl is in the building.
Hey.
Woo, woo. Nice job. Listen, you are the best student that has ever done that activity with me, by the way, Tanya. So why is that exercise so great? Well, first of all, we're all laughing over here, right? We only did one example and we're all laughing. The same thing is going to happen with your audience. The same thing happens in every single one of my classes. First of all, people get like, what? Oh, no. I relieve the pressure. Guys, don't worry. We do an example. We do a little practice. I'm like, everybody's going to get a chance to do this. Don't worry, right? I'm not singling people out because you also have to build a sense of safety for your audience where you make it safe to participate, even if people make mistakes. So if any of you have ever studied psychological safety, we have to think about this with activities. In addition to, I would consider myself an ambivert in the sense, but I do lean more towards an extrovert. Tanya is an introvert. My guess is that Strick, that you're an extrovert as well. And Kirk, I'm not sure. I think you might be ambivert too.
What is an ambivert?
Ambivert is a person who's in the middle, who displays qualities of both. But myself, for example, I know for sure that I lean more towards an extrovert because if I spend more than a day alone, I start to get down. Whereas an extrovert would be very happy spending that time alone, right? So, but it's about where you get your energy from. But I bring that up because it's really important that you balance your activities out for all different energy levels, that you're not only doing extroverted types of things with people who might not be extroverted, or you're not providing enough stimulation to a group. So it comes back to knowing your audience. But Flippity.net is a great tool. Kahoot, if any of you can have those accounts, that is a paid service. There's another tool I can show you. Strick, if you can give me the screen share, I'll share one more tool.
I did put the link to Flippity inside of the comments so you guys can see that as well.
Perfect. Thank you. So I'm showing you the website in full screen here. You can plug in a list of any names. So let's just say we were going to do, let's see, who do we have in the chat? We have AG, we have Ben.
Put Walter in there. Make sure you put Walter.
We have Walter. We had Roy. We had Aubrey. Elise was here tonight. Trying to remember the people who were coming. So let's just say
Strick.
That's right. We're here too. Tanya, Kirk, Strick. Oops. So you plug in your names, your group, your people, and then you click to spin. And I'm not sure if I have my sound going, but there is a sound associated with this. Oh, Walter Walter is our winner tonight. Congratulations,
Walter!
All right, here we go. Hold on, Tanya. Hold on. So, Walter, let me tell you what you won. Thank you so very much for participating in tonight's show. You actually win another chance to watch the stream show next Sunday, February the 28th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you so very much for your participation. All right, you can carry on.
That is awesome. Now, we can take this to another level with Ecamm by...
You're muted in this scene, Tanya. I'm
color
sorry.
of our background to a green screen.
There you go. You're back.
Oh.
No, you're good. And you're out again.
We lost your audio, Tatiana.
Am I back? Am I back?
Yes, you're back now.
Hello?
You're good now.
Okay, that's great. Okay, so what I was saying was that what we can do is take this to another level by making our background a green screen, cropping it in, and then we will only see the wheel itself rather than seeing it like I showed it to you initially. But you could get a sense of this, right? So even that white, and then we've got a beautiful looking wheel that spins. If you want to keep the sound in there or add your own sound effects too, but this is wheelofnames.com. It's free. It's online. It's another great tool to use. And I just want to give a shout out to my friend Claudio Sennheiser, who helped me up my game with this by saying, change it to green, and then use the green screen tool within Ecamm to take it away. And I'm like, oh, that's right, man. That looks really, really, really sharp when we do it that way rather than presenting it like this.
Great idea.
Man. No. I think we're gonna have to start charging now, Strick. This is
it's close to it. It's close to that time.
Yeah,
it really is.
I really feel like we need to start charging now. Like,
it's true.
No. This is phenomenal. This is phenomenal. Yeah.
I don't want to stop you though, because if you have more of like we got time. I want to see all you got.
No, you don't. I will share. She said 5 hours. She said 5 hours. That's a no.
I do have a couple more tools that I'm more than happy.
There's a couple more tools. Guys. So many. I have Flippity.
Yes.
Flippity, Kahoot, Wheel of Names.
All right, what's next?
Another great tool is Flip, if you guys want to incorporate, and then it also depends on, are you going live? Are you doing virtual? Are you doing in person? There's a difference between synchronous virtual, like we're all here together synchronously, and then asynchronous, which is like when you're watching a replay. So, or if you're watching a video that was meant to be watched as a recording. So it all depends, but for so many different interactive things, there are other great tools such as Miro, right? Miro is a tool that I love. I created this board in Miro as retrieval practice. So when my students come to class, they know that the first thing we're going to do is retrieval practice, which means, what do you remember about something from the past? So I'm asking them for some golden nuggets, 2 things that stood out to you about the previous class. I created these sections here, but they'll go to class 1, grab a sticky, put their name on it, and comment on what 2 things they remember. So it's another online interactive tool. This is Miro, Miro.com. Miro.com. It's an online whiteboard. I do believe that this one is a paid service, but there are other free online whiteboard tools that you can use, like Google Jamboard. But I did hear that Google Jamboard is going to be going away soon.
And Canva has their whiteboard now as a feature as well.
Oh, there you go. Right. So if you have Canva, there's a whiteboard feature on there too. So a digital whiteboard tool, you have infinite possibilities when it comes to interaction. Like if you can draw, you can show things. You guys probably have heard so many people already talking about like how you can use your iPad to highlight things as well, but a whiteboard is really fun. And then for those of you guys who not sure where to start, there is a tool called classroomscreen.com. And I don't know. I'm hearing kind of a loud sound going on. I don't know if you guys are hearing that as well. Okay. So this classroom screen, it's classroomscreen.com, and it's totally free. You can change the background to whatever backgrounds they have available. Right. So I was just recently in Costa Rica, so we're going to go with the beach theme.
Let's go with the beach.
I like it.
You have tools like simple polls on here. You have a randomizer tool, but I like Wheel of Names best, just as an FYI. I've never played around with sound levels on here, but I'm not going to allow my microphone right now since I'm streaming over here. So let's just block that. But those are some tools for you to play with when it comes to the sound. You can share an image, adding widgets. There's text. There's different types of, if you're teaching maybe and it's time for silence. There's a traffic light one on here too. There's a timer. There's a clock. They have some other apps on here as well. So it's just rolling the dice, which can be kind of fun.
Tatiana, do you think we could play virtual red light, green light inside of a live stream?
Ooh, that would be fun.
Idea. That is a good idea. And look, you can draw on here. You can create a QR code. You can do a hyperlink. You can create some stickers. So, I mean, I do think that the possibilities are endless. You can go simple with this, but sometimes you just don't know where to start, and a blank screen is just a bit too much. So these are just a few little things, even if you're just trying to add something different to a class, right? And you want to simplify something or to a presentation. There are so many great tools along these lines that you can add. I mean, my favorite really is to see how much I can incorporate within Ecamm. But then another big point I want to make is sometimes you need to go no tech. Sometimes you need to go low tech, but sometimes you just got to do no tech at all. Sometimes the activity can just be grab something in your environment.
Go girl.
For a little for a little show and tell. Or you can even just bring up a note card. Pop something. Cover your face, right? You got to cover your face so it'll go in focus, but it's not, I love technology, but it's not always about that, right? Sometimes you think of things that people just want to do with their hands that they can highlight, like a body pull. All right, everybody, if you're doing a live class, show me with your hands an answer to something, or put up something on screen, or block your camera if you love Ecamm. Just having different things ready to engage with that are not technology related is really important as well. So wanted to make those points. That's right, Kirk. Right? Got his hand. I can't reach my camera; it's too far away.
I just want to be obedient. She said,
I know, because she's teaching, so you just feel like you have to do what she's telling you to do because she's the teacher. This is so good, really love Tatiana.
This. I just want to say, man, I love especially the fact that you can have engagement even in your replay. Having those little Easter eggs in your replay for people to kind of engage with, and that's also a game changer as well. So not just the live component, but even for those who's like, okay, for those on the replay, go here and do this, just like some of the tools you showed. That keeps the conversation going, and you can actually do a follow-up as you start your next live. Go ahead.
You brought up Easter egg, and I just want to explain what that is, because not everybody knows what an Easter egg is.
That's true.
An Easter egg is a hidden little thing. So I'll give you an example, right? This is a supporting material. I'm giving you an example of the point that Kirk just made with a little explanation. In my syllabus, I put towards the end, if you've come this far in the syllabus, please send me an email with the subject line, mission accomplished, with your favorite emoji for a chance to win a prize on the first day of class.
So good.
Very few students do this.
Because they scan right through it.
But what does it tell them on the first day of class? We're going to do some fun things in this class. She has secret little hidden activities and ways for us to win stuff. And dang it, I should have read the syllabus.
Yes.
That's it.
So, I know they're not going to read it for the most part, but little fun things built in to make it more engaging.
And aren't they more likely, if they see that a couple of people have won, right? Aren't they more likely to do it the next time you share instruction? They're going to pay more attention. I love that all of that is built in. You're such a teacher.
So good.
I'm such a little teacher. I know.
She did a great job. I absolutely love this. What's the name of that last tool again?
That was Classroom Screen. ClassroomScreen.com.
Okay, somebody was asking that. Lem here was asking.
There you go.
Tanya, tell me as we talked about all of this tonight, Tatiana shared a lot. And I know you natively do some of these things on your show. Like, what is going through your mind as you're hearing this from Tanya as a panelist, and also just like us hearing the information and kind of like getting a reminder?
I think a couple of things are going through my mind. First of all, Tatiana is the queen. So I already knew that. Again, I got to give her props, right? So I love that all the tools that are being made available are options for people, both free and paid. A lot of them were free, which was exciting. One thing I want to kind of just circle back to, and because I always have to go back and think about what was it like for me as a new streamer. And for those people who are just brand new and they're starting to get a little overwhelmed and smoke is coming out of your ears right now because this has been so great, which is why I was like, nope, 5 hours is too much. But keep in mind, it's not about doing all of the things. So here's my warning. Don't go back and your next show has nothing but engagement tools. You have no content, no stories. Please don't do that. Instead, look at these as options that you can pull from. It's like a toolbox. And so there may be one or two techniques. And for me, Strick, when I think about my own show and the things that I'm learning tonight, because I'm learning too, I think for me, it is about being intentional and purposeful so that when I get on camera and I deliver my streams, that I still continue to deliver high value content first. And these tools, just like with generative AI, ChatGPT, are to enhance the message. So don't miss that point and start focusing so much on all the oohs and ahs and the shiny stuff, but definitely use it to help enhance your content that you've already put together, the stuff that you know is what you know. And even if you're just using the sound of your voice to speak it, because there are some shows where I won't have anything but, hey guys, I just want to have a conversation tonight. Can we talk? And that's how I'll start the show. And it literally is us having a conversation. And I might switch cameras or do something for that disruption, but I may not have any tech in it. So just keep in mind that this is to enhance the content you're already putting together. You're enhancing it so that you can make sure you have those engagement options, but don't let it become a crutch and replace the high value that goes into you putting the presentation itself together.
Right.
Love it.
That's what I think.
Love it.
And I will say, like, as much as we love music, and music is a source of inspiration too, if you want to find some really great ideas, song lyrics are a powerful place for inspiration. But it's so important what you're saying, Tanya, because while we might love a song with lots of different instruments and lots of different variety, we really like an acoustic version too. Like, it doesn't always have to be big. It can sometimes be simple and stripped down and be just as effective, if not more effective too. So all these tools to keep in mind. There's so many more. And I want to make a few recommendations for resources because I get a lot of inspiration from my friends. I already mentioned to you Anna and Fulgence for activities, right? I'm always on ENN Monday nights most of the time,
I try to get on
listening,
too at the
getting
end of the
such
show.
great
Normally,
ideas.
I'm on for the trivia, and I always say that I win, and I never do. I never do.
But they're a source of inspiration for you. And I want to tell you about 3 other people that inspire me a lot when it comes to thinking about activities. And that is my friend Saeed Sadouk at thefacilitator.com, Chad Littlefield, and Jan Keck, Jankeck. So that's Saeed Sadouk, thefacilitator.com, Chad Littlefield, and Jan Keck. And I know for sure Jan Keck is in the Ecamm fam as well. And I learned a lot. I get so much inspiration from them. So just check out their channels, check out their content as well for ideas, for inspiration, for creativity, for so many great engagement activities for people of all levels, all different energy types, and in all different settings, whether it's presentations or virtual or in person. So it's really good stuff, and I want to just recommend them to you too.
That's awesome.
Let me also just add that you if you haven't already, you need to be following both Tatiana and Tanya. Yes. I mean, real talk. These are also ridiculous, phenomenal resources. They wouldn't be on the show. We wouldn't have them in front of you if they weren't. And I think that tonight's 2-hour stream is evidence of the fact that they have value to provide, and we got to have them back. So definitely somebody was saying we need to see Tatiana's top 10 live streaming tools. Go to her channel, go to her platforms, sign up, message her, put a comment in the chat and say, hey, we want those tools. So that, because we don't want to, that she's here today, but she's also available on her own platforms as well. So Stream Like a Boss TV has an entire playbook of apps and resources that you need to make of yourself available of, right? So I just want to make sure we put that plug in there. Don't you see people on these streams, don't just even Walter Jeanette in the comments. I mean, I see somebody saying, hey, I need to go check out your show. Check out one another's shows, y'all. Don't that's not something that don't let that be a conceptual. Check out one another's shows. Check out one another's platforms. Send one another a message. Hey, I saw you in the comments on the stream show. You're a streamer. I'm a streamer. Let's all stream together. Whatever it is. But this is a community that we're trying to create here. We're trying to take some of our own advice from tonight's show and engage with you guys and really create a conversation that is lasting.
I'm with you 100%.
I love that comment.
That being said, Tanya, I'll start with you. People are watching you tonight, and they love what you provide as far as information tonight, and they want more information. They want to go on demand and just watch all of your stuff. How can they do that?
You can head to Stream Like a Boss TV with Tanya Smith on YouTube, or you can go to streamlikeaboss.tv and find out more information about where we are online. So lots and lots of spaces that you can find me, but find your favorite spot and join through one of those 2 pages.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Tatiana.
Well, on my end, just gotta share that love for you guys. And also mention that these overlays come from Live Streaming Pro, so you can, find places to purchase fun things like this. It just, they bring joy to me to do it. When we talk about adding fun, I have more fun when I do these kinds of things too. But I'm at Tatiana Teaches on YouTube, on LinkedIn, and on TikTok, because I was like, I can't do all the streaming platforms. Sorry, people. I got to pick 3. I'm trying to stick with that. That's hard, trying to grow a platform. But Tatiana Teaches, LinkedIn, please do connect with me. Absolutely would love to connect with people who are watching tonight, Ecamm, fam, or otherwise, right? I got love for OBS. I'm learning OBS because I want to be able to teach my students that as well, even though Ecamm is for sure, my preferred. But it's important to be well-versed in lots of things, especially when you're an educator. So lots of love for all my Windows people, all my Mac people, just people in general who want to learn more about education and teaching with heart. That's really my biggest thing. It's about like learning, inspiring, and teaching with love. That's really what it comes down for me.
Well, thank you, ladies. We have exceeded, or you guys have exceeded my expectations. Normally, Kurt and I only do an hour show. Like within 45 minutes, I'm wrapping it up for the close, but I just couldn't stop. And not only could I not stop, the people kept watching. And as long as people were on and we had something to provide, I wanted to kind of stay on as long as we could. I did not expect to do 2 hours. I did not. So thank you so very much.
I did not either.
And I hope I haven't taken too much of your time because
5 hours.
It's a lot. I know it, right? So Kurt and I both have experienced the 5-hour stream, and
yes, we have. Yes,
we've done that. We're past that. We won't do that again if we don't have to. But 2 hours is a nice show, and I'm grateful for the people that stayed in the comments. Walter, yes, thank you so very much for hanging out with us tonight. G. Albert, thank you so very much. Ben, thank you for your comments. Thank you. Stream Like a Boss. The absolute wonder for hanging out with us.
I could tell that's the one you were looking.
AG, thank you so very much, sir, for hanging out with us. And there's a ton more. Roy, and Dan, thank you guys for making this show tonight what it has been. And more importantly, the information you guys have given out. What I'm going to do, I'm saying this live, so you two ladies will hear this from me and Kirk right now. All we need to do is pick a day. And I would love to have you guys back for us to be able to talk, not to do 2 hours unless that's what it takes, but to really share some more information. I guess we're talking about storytelling next time. So we already have the theme. That is the topic. And that's whether you're live streaming or you're podcasting, storytelling is just the way to go. And we can kind of go down that road together. Is that okay?
That sounds like a plan.
Let's do it.
Sounds like a plan.
Perfect,
let's go.
Perfect. So, Kirk, you do a lot. You've been doing some of your new shows and podcasts, and I want to be sure people have an opportunity to get to that as well.
Absolutely, man. HowItAllWorks.com. HowItAllWorks. HowItAllWorks.com. Everything is there. Morning motivation. Every morning at 6 a.m. Not quite this week. I'm traveling, so when I get back, we'll start that up again. But also we have the Why I Go Live podcast, which drops every Thursday at 6 p.m. So excited. And listen, Tanya, I got to make sure I get you the links to your episode, because it is absolutely doing well and it is helping people out there. Making sure you're laser focused on your audience and ensuring that you're answering the questions that they most need answered is absolutely what I have gone through over the past year. And that's the reason why the shows that I have are there. Morning motivation, that motivation that people need as a coach. I've realized that that's a lack. Why I Go Live, helping people understand the relevance. And then, of course, the Coaching Corner with Kirk on Wednesdays at noon. Strick, we got to get you on the show, man. Thank you so much for having
me. Let's do it. That being said, ladies, you guys are some Ecamm rock stars. And I do appreciate it. And I can't wait to work with you again.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you.
Hey, this is DJ Strick, and I would like to thank you for watching another edition of The Stream Show.